Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Welcome to a new day and to a new year, a new life. Hope that you're doing great. I hope that you're feeling well this morning, strong and just rejuvenated and purposeful. That you've got a reason this morning for getting up and getting out into the world and you're feeling good about who you are. Now, I've got my cup of tea this morning. I'm drinking my Puka Love Tea. It's one of my faves, as you know. It's rosehip, lavender, and chamomile. So that's my tea for the day. Hope you've got a cup of tea, coffee, smoothie, whatever you love, and that you're kind of enjoying a nice, easy start to your day. Or if you're watching this at night, of course, maybe you're curling up after a busy day and just relaxing. But anyway, here we are. And perhaps many of you are thinking about something that I want to talk to you about today, that, really our society is kind of reshifting what to do with us, older women and men, to be truthful. And, whether we're considering retirement or not, how to get ready for that transition. Now, when I use that word, I always kind of get a little bit ambivalent because I don't think I'm actually going to ever stop working. So if retirement means to stop working, then I probably will never retire. But if it means something different, then let's redefine that and then be sure that we're ready for it. Maybe it's some combination of working part-time or working full-time for a little longer or a lot longer. Now, one of our bloggers, Hilary Henderson, wrote an article about this and really asked us to think about, are we ready for retirement? Now, it may take different aspects to that. Maybe you've got personal challenges that make it difficult for you. But let's just talk broadly about it. And then we can, kind of assess what we need to be thinking about in terms of surviving. Now, Social Security in the States, for example, the whole idea started in the late 1800s, or 1889, I think it was, when average age of a man, longevity, was 67 years. So, if he retired at 65, he was going to get a pension for 2 years. So this was, I guess, affordable for governments that's how they viewed retirement. But then we're now living 30 years beyond that or more. And, we're having trouble finding work after 50. So there's a little gap there. What are we going to do to survive and pay the rent and eat and do the things we love in those years, 30 years that we're gaining? So this whole idea of retirement, I think, is what are you going to do with that 30 years plus? And, how are you going to define your retirement? How are you going to find money to live in the style that you want? So there's a shift. And Hilary does a very good job here, I think, in this article of talking to us about the categories, the questions that we need to ask ourselves. Now, we all know it's all about, in our older, 60s, it's about meaning and not achieving necessarily. And it's all about experiences and not stuff. But there are some very physical and concrete things to think about. So she suggests it's a nice way to look at this is to kind of listen to these categories and grade yourself, or give you a one between 1 and 10, a point for where you think you are on this spectrum. So first of all, physical. Are you physically strong? Are you feeling healthy? Are you taking care of your body? Are you nourishing yourself? This is the body that's going to take you through those 30 years. So are you feeling like you're in good shape, that you're putting that as a priority, that well-being, health and well-being are important to you? That's reducing stress, staying healthy, disease-free, and just feeling strong. How well are you doing? Give a little mark between 1 and 10. All right, second one is intellectual. So how mentally stimulating is your life? What are you doing to keep your brain agile and, and flexible? Do you do brain games? Do you meditate? Do you do any kinds of yoga or exercise that, helps you with your mental strength and your brain mobility? What are you doing in terms of things like reading? Do you read a lot? Do you read and surf the internet? Are you a researcher? A lifelong learner? Do you travel, with a wide openness about learning? What things are you doing for intellectual strength? Again, give yourself a mark between 1 and 10. See where these things add up. Partnerships. Okay, let's talk about relationships broadly. How are you dealing with the empty nest? You know, if you had children and they've now left and they're going to college, or they're married, having children of their own, how are you doing with that? You know, how have you managed to sort of blend the relationships with your family into your own purpose, your own sense of desire as to what you want to do in your next 30 years? Are you making plans for the life ahead? How's your marriage if you're in a marriage? And if you're single, do you want to be that way? Is that okay? How are you doing? Are you feeling lonely or isolated? You know, these are things that are really important that will impact your decision to retire. Are you an elder orphan? Meaning, are you an older woman who doesn't have any children or has no one to look after you if you needed physical help? So, important question, 1 in 10. Spiritual. How prepared are you for aging? Like, how do your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, broadly or specifically, align to getting older? How at peace are you with the idea that you're going to die? It's a very challenging topic, that one, but it's an important one to think about and rate as you're doing this assessment of when you want to retire and how you want to retire. Okay, a big one. Financial. How are you doing? Do you have enough money for retirement? Have you done that test, where you live for a certain period of time just on the money that you would get in your off of a pension or retirement income? Are you ready? Could you age in place? What do you need to supplement your income if you really know in your heart that you're not earning enough? Big question is too, how well are you covered for medical expenses that might come up? So financial questions are super important when you're thinking about retirement. Another thing is environmental. Where do you want to live? Physically, where do you want to be? Do you want to be near your family? Do you want to be somewhere that you've always wanted to live? Are you happy in the city? Or would you rather be in a quieter country location? I mean, should you downsize your home? Move into a smaller place? This is really important. Another thing to ask about is social. Now, when we look at longevity and well-being, social networks are really important. I mean, all the studies have shown this, and it's super important, especially as a woman, to have girlfriends. And here we are, 60 and me. It's really important to have women in a community who you can talk to, who you can be with, who you can feel relaxed about just topics that are just, on your mind. So having a social network. So are there people in your social network that you love, that are like-minded, that really understand you and what's important to you? What are you doing to keep young in spirit? Are you hanging out with younger people too, mixing it up so that you're learning from them and them from you? What kind of social environment are you in? Is it strong enough? Is it, where you want to be? All right. So another thing, of course, indicates, or it's a deciding factor when you think about retirement, and that is, of course, occupation. Now, if you're one of the people that loves your job, I do, but I'm a self-employed now. I left my corporate job. I'm doing the job I want on my own terms, and I am loving, the work I do for 60 and me. This is my life right now. But if you are in an occupation that you love, that's great, and you have a boss or a company that supports you, then go for it. Stay where you are and stay as long as you can, as long as you want to. And most financial advisors would say, just hang in there a little bit longer. If you're in the States, let your Social Security go a little bit until you're maybe 70, because the numbers go up in terms of what you get after that point. So it's really important that, you have a reason to get up in the morning, that you're doing something to earn money that you love. I mean, of course, if you really desperately need money, you do what you do. It's how we've always done it as older women. We just do what we need to do. But if you can think about it in advance, think about a way of turning your passion into a business. And I'm not talking about having a huge website or, a big investment. It's finding those channels. And, we're so lucky in some ways that we've got a lot of technology advantages now. We can sell things online. We've got local community activities where we can, sell our craft items or, do online work, copywriting, writing, and so on. Lots of choices, and we've got tools to help us. So that's really kind of the broad categories that Hillary mentioned. And I think it's really important, if we've been going along here, for you to have graded yourself. Nothing serious, of course, but where do you stand? Now, you should have a clear indication now of the areas that need a little extra work. What areas do you have to prioritize in your life now? If you scored low on a couple of those areas, what are you going to do? I mean, this is the time now to take action, to make changes in your life that are going to help you live a happy 30 plus years after the age of 60. So, which areas do you need to prioritize? Which was the area in the test that you felt you were weakest? And what are you going to do about it? I really appreciate Hillary taking the time to write this article. I hope it was helpful to you. I am going to do it myself, and we can share in the comment section below where we stand. Please leave your comments like you always do. I love how you're so open to critique and feedback, and I love that in you. So thank you so much for being here, for being part of this community, and tell us what you thought about these. What areas do you need to prioritize as you're going towards retirement? And if you're retired, how are you doing? Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Have a fabulous day, and I'd look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Take very good care. Bye-bye for now.